here we go, systems. Okay, this is the notes for this are going to be in that booklet that we did at the end of fall semester. Okay, here we go. Ms. Kazono buys 3 cake pops and 4 bags of chips from students for $12.50. Ms. Broderick buys 2 cake pops and 1 bag of chips for $6.25. How much is a cake pop? How much are chips? Okay, first I'm noticing what I'm being asked, and I'm asking for the price of a cake pop and the price of chips. So for cake pop, I'm going to use P for pop. Okay, so P is going to represent a cake pop, and C is going to represent a bag of chips. And let's write some equations. So my first equation is going to be this sentence. So Miss K is buying 3 cake pops. Oops, I decided to use P for cake pops. 3 cake pops plus 4 bags of chips. So look, she's going to buy however much cake pops cost, she's going to pay that 3 times. And however much chips cost, she's going to pay that 4 times. And she's going to pay a total of $12.50. Now, Ms. Broderick, on the other hand, is going to buy 2 cake pops and 1 bag of chips and is only going to spend $6.25. Okay, so now we have a system of equations, okay, and I'm going to solve this using elimination. Okay, now when you look at your practice problems, one of these problems is like this problem down below, which I'm going to solve using substitution. One of these problems is a word problem like this, and one of these problems is a problem that it looks kind of like this to start with, and you have to use elimination in order to solve it. So I now use this word problem to write equations, but you also have to be able to just solve these equations. Okay, so here's what I observe. I have 2 equations in what's called standard form. The easiest method to use is elimination. And so what I need to remember is, with systems, I can only solve for one variable at a time. So in this case, I can only solve for P or C first, and then I'll just take one of those and plug it back in and find the other variable. So what I want to do is set this up where if I add these equations, one of the variables will eliminate, and I can just solve for one variable. So what I observe is this. This is like a wonderful thing to start with elimination, which is just a 1. Because look, what I'm wishing is that I could eliminate the C's. Look, this is a 4C. If I were to add these, what number would this have to be to eliminate with 4C? You know what it would have to be? A negative 4C. So since this is a 1C, what I can do is just take this whole equation, multiply it by negative 4. Okay, and look what's going to happen. I'm going to multiply the whole thing. So 1, 2, 3 pieces all multiplied by negative 4. It's going to be negative 8p minus 4c. Look, and this is definitely a good situation to use your calculator. Negative 4 times 625, careful, equals negative 25. And then, look, I'm just going to take this equation. So here I multiplied by negative 4. Here I'm just going to take this equation and copy it. Why? Because this is negative 4c. I made it negative 4c to match this positive 4c. And now when I add these equations together, I'm going to add, look, 4c minus 4c. I'm adding 4c. I guess technically it's 4c plus negative 4c. That cancels. It eliminates. 3 minus 8, that's negative 5p equals. Now 1250 minus 25. This is a great opportunity to use your calculator. It's going to be negative 1250. I'm going to divide by negative 5. Right? I'm trying to get p by itself. I'm solving for p. So this is negative 1250 divided by 5 is negative 2.5. Okay, now we're talking about prices. So this is the price of a cake pop, and the price of a cake pop, oh, I'm sorry, this was supposed to be negative divided by negative was a positive. My bad. Okay, so this is a price, so we don't write prices like this, right? Let's add the 0. Okay, so a cake pop is $2.50. Not sure why I left myself so little space, but I did. Okay, so a cake pop is $2.50. And then what I still need to know is the chips. How much do they cost? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this P and put it back into one of these equations. I'll just put it into this equation that happens to have smaller numbers. So this equation is 2P plus 1C equals 625. Okay, so I'm taking this P and I'm putting it back here to be able to solve and find out how much a bag of chips is. So then I'm going to multiply. 2 times 250 is 5. And then I'm trying to get C by itself, right? I'm trying to solve for C. Okay, so a bag of chips is $1.25. Now, if I'm taking a final exam, what I would do is I would come and I would check. This would be my last step. But I would take this other equation, the one that I didn't just use, and I would just make sure that if I put in $2.50 for a cake pop and $1.25 for a bag of chips, that I do in fact get $12.50. So let's just do that real quick. 3 times 2.5 is 7.5, and 4 times 125 is 5. And when I add these together, yep, I get 12.5 equals 12.5, and so I'm good. All right, so that's how I would solve this. Okay, for this one, this is not a word problem, I'm just solving. Now, the same thing applies, which is I can only solve for one variable at a time. Okay, so in this case, so this method was called elimination. Okay, this method is going to be called, and look what I observe, these equations are not in standard form. Here I have a variable by itself. Okay, that's going to lead me to use the easier method here is going to be substitution. Okay, and what that looks like is I say, oh, this y equals this. Well, you know what? This y is the same as this y. So since these are the same, and this y is equal to 2x minus 17, this y is also equal to 2x minus 17. So I can take this y right here, this one, and replace it with 2x minus 17 because I know that y is equal to that. And now notice what I have is I have an equation with only x's. So this I've been able to solve since September, right? 4 times 2, 4 times 17. This right looks negative times negative, so it's positive. That might be something you need your calculator for, so feel free to use it if you need it. Okay, now I'm going to combine like terms. And then I'm going to solve. So I'm looking to get x by itself. I'm going to subtract 68 on both sides first. I get x equals 6. Okay, now remember that's only half of my answer if I'm solving a system. I have it's always my x value and then my y value, right? So that's 6, and then I'm going to take this x value and plug it in. Okay, I get 12 minus 17, so y is negative 5. Okay, and again, what I would do is I would just check my answer really quick. What I'm going to do is I just use this equation, the top equation, so I would check it in the other one. So if x is 6 and y is negative 5, is that going to equal 38? Let's see. 18, negative times negative is positive. Yeah, this is correct. 18 plus 20 does equal 38. Okay, so there's my work.